All right, just checking if we are live. Give me a second. All right, I think we are live now. So, hello and welcome to the PMC Lounge live session. We try to go live every Friday. Sometimes it's not possible, but we make our best efforts to go live every Friday and bring you topics that are close to reality, that are close to real life project management situations. And today we are going over a similar topic, and it's about labor shortage, right? The dilemma of labor shortage and what can you as a project manager do about it. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let me quickly share a bit about who I am, why you should be listening to me. This is, of course, one of the best, if not the best, project management channels out there. I have worked with several companies, been a speaker, mentor, consultant. PMC Lounge, of course, subscribe to us. A quick word here about PMC Lounge if you're first time here, even if you are watching it on a replay. PMC in PMC Lounge stands for Project Management Certification. So, just a heads up there. I would also like to talk about how we are available on the different social media platforms. So, definitely check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, even our Telegram and WhatsApp channels. You can connect with us there to stay abreast with what's happening. Our mission has always been to simplify project management. We break down complex topics into easily understandable language. And thousands of our awesome community members, they have crushed their PMP exams using our resources. So, from articles on pmclounge.com to the playlists on this YouTube channel, you will find everything that you need to pass your PMP exam, and that too absolutely free. So, why not hit that subscribe button? Join us on this journey to achieve your project management career goals. By the way, as I mentioned, we are also active on all these different social media platforms. So, in addition to subscribing to us on YouTube, you can join us on these different social media platforms as well. All right, quick review of the topic, an overview of the topic, the session that we have today. You might be joining us from home or a co-working space, or maybe secretly watching this during another meeting. No judgment here, but we are talking about something that is hitting all of us, or that might hit all of us, and it is about labor shortages and how these are going to be this is going to be a big impact on project management. What can you as a project manager do about it? So, first up, some context here, right? So, labor shortages, they aren't just a line in the news, they are impacting every one of us in very real ways. Suddenly, that project you thought you could staff in 2 weeks now takes about 2 months. Your best team members, they are juggling multiple assignments and hinting that they might take a break, which sounds suspiciously like they are updating their LinkedIn profile. What this situation that we are facing today demands is smarter project management, not necessarily more project management. You don't want to increase your project management efforts that you are putting in, right? You don't definitely not want any other spreadsheet. You want sharper thinking, more agility, and more leadership from folks like you and me who sit at the intersection of delivery, communication, and all the chaos that project management brings with it. We are going to walk through three practical strategies that you can implement immediately, no matter what kind of projects you're managing. These ideas are built on the foundation of PMI best practices, but they also adopt to what's happening in the real world today. So, if at any point you find yourself nodding in agreement or sighing because, yes, that's exactly your life, go ahead, like the video. It helps more project managers find this content. And let's face it, we could all use a little more solidarity right now. So, labor shortages, They are disrupting delivery timelines and team capacity. There's an increased risk which requires smarter and more adaptive project management. And obviously, proactive strategies can help maintain control the outcomes. Okay, a quick check here on the India total fertility rate, because a lot of people tend to think that India is overpopulated. We have so many people across the board. What are we talking about when we say labor shortages? So if you see the total fertility rate from 2001 to 2021, anything that's below 2.1 means that you are actually decreasing. And what you see in 2021 is that the overall total fertility rate for India as a country is barely 1.98, which is lower than the replacement rate, which is also known as RFR, of 2.1. So as I mentioned, if your fertility rate is less than 2.1, your population is going to be shrinking from birth side, right? So right now we are shrinking from birth side rapidly. Further, some states are also shrinking from death side as well. So more people are dying versus the number of people that are being born, right? So it is likely, and a lot of experts say that we are going to peak. The peak Indian population is going to be around 162 to 165 crore in around the year 2050, and from there on, India's population is going to see a sharp fall. So we are right there. It's just 25 years from now. And not just that, like I spoke about India because India is the most populous country in the world. We've overtaken China. But if you look at other countries, if you look at Japan, if you look at China, if you look at so many different countries in Europe, everyone is actually shrinking. So that is just another context of why we are on the verge of facing labor shortages, if not already. In fact, if you think about it, all companies out there have some sort of openings. Why do they have so many openings? Obviously, they are not able to find people that fit the role. So there is a labor shortage today, and as population decrease through the coming years and decades, this is only going to get worse. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the agenda for this video. So we will be talking about understanding the new dynamics of labor shortages in the project environment. So as I mentioned, we are not just here to commiserate, though let's be honest, that would be fun too, but we are here to get strategic. We will first lay the groundwork with this topic of what's really going on with labor right now and how does that intersect with project management. It's more than just open positions, right? I mentioned open positions, but it's also about stress, burnout, and shifting expectations. Then we are going to go deep into three high impact strategies. So definitely stick around for those three strategies. That's a takeaway for you. That's something that you can apply on your projects from today itself. And these are not going to be silver bullets for sure, but they are field tested ideas that can help you stay in control of your project outcomes, even when your team roster looks like a revolving door. And finally, we will close with a few reflections and leave you with a mindset that helps you thrive, not just survive during this time. So let's start off with the labor shortage dilemma, right? So let's address the elephant in the room. People are hard to find right now. Ask any company HR. People are hard to find. And I'm not talking about qualified people. Of course they are hard to find, and that's why a lot of companies have these openings. So qualified people are hard to find, that's a given. But any kind of people are also hard to find. You could post a job description that includes free coffee, unlimited PTO, and a stress ball with your face on it, and still crickets. This is something which you and I, if we are talking about the Indian context or the 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 Indian context or the larger Indian context. You can consider other countries, nearby countries that have higher population, but we can talk about it, and you'll feel that if you post a job description, a lot of people are going to be coming around. And this is true for perhaps the Indian subcontinent, but this is not true for a lot of other Western countries out there. Now, this is not unique to project management. It is happening everywhere. So it's not like just project management professionals or people working in project management are hard to find. It is true across the board. But for us as project managers, the effects are particularly sharp because projects by nature rely on collaboration, rely on teamwork. You need people to work on projects, right? A lot of people say it, and it's absolutely true that project management is all about people management. So when one piece of the team puzzle is missing, which is team resources, everything is going to slow down. And this shortage is happening while technology keeps accelerating. You talk about artificial intelligence, you talk about chat GPT and other AI tools replacing human jobs. And you might feel that, oh, we don't actually need so many humans in the office. But that's not true. Even if you feel like you won't need so many people on your teams, on your projects, the people that you're going to need are also hard to find. So you've got AI, you've got cloud platforms, you've got new AI tools every quarter, but you definitely need a team to keep up. But then there's demographic shifts, which mean that many senior folks are also retiring. So that's a demographic shift that is happening. And younger folks might still be learning the ropes. And then there's middle tier talent, which is basically spreading thinner than butter on a budget toast. So, and let's not also forget COVID-19, right? That has definitely had an impact. Even now, after so many years of this COVID, it has reshaped how we work. COVID has definitely done that. Teams are still remote or hybrid. Communication is still digital first, and engagement is not as intuitive as it was prior to COVID, when we could all huddle around a whiteboard in a meeting room, right? This means we are not just facing labor shortage, we are also facing a connection shortage, right? That is something very important for you and I as project managers. So let's talk about the three strategies now. Strategy one is up your game on scope, schedule, and resource management. You have to tighten your grip on the triple constraint of project management. Let's start with scope creep. We have all been there. Someone says, can we just add one more thing? And you say, yes, because you're a team player. But five such small requests later, you are managing a Frankenstein monster of a project. And in an environment where you might also face labor shortage, you don't have the luxury of elasticity. You need to say no more often, or at least, or at the very least, make sure every change request comes with a trade off discussion. So you have to have stricter controls around scope creep and stricter change management in place. Now, let's level up to portfolio thinking, right? So think beyond your project. Your project is not an island, right? It's part of a larger ecosystem. You have shared resources, you have competing priorities, you maybe even have some office politics if you are lucky. So, by thinking like a portfolio manager, you can spot external threats early. Is there any other project about to poach your best developer? And you will know before it happens. And you can defend your turf like a gladiator. So think broad, think from portfolio management perspective as well. As I mentioned, your projects are not islands, right? You are not dealing with something in a vacuum. There's a larger story at play here. All right, finally, if you're working with agile teams, you have to remember that stability equals velocity. Agile basically thrives on familiarity. Every time you swap a new team member, you lose context, you lose productivity, and you might even lose trust. So you have to fight to keep your teams stable if you are an agile project manager. And even if it means renegotiating timelines, if you have a consistent team, that is your best defense against chaos in projects. Okay, strategy to get back to basics. Now, let's be honest, project reporting has become a beast, especially after the coming of generative AI that can be used to, generate project status and report more stuff, right? So project reporting has definitely become a beast. We have built layers and layers of metrics, dashboards, reviews, and even narratives. At some point, our projects have become less about doing the work and more about reporting on the work. If that's the case with you, let me know in the comments. Do you also feel like this? Your project has turned more into, reporting what you are working on rather than actually doing the work. Is that something that your project team members feel? Let me know in the comments. Now, it's like project is the iceberg and reporting is the Titanic, right? Now, the time to get now here's the time, right? This is the time to get back to basics. You have to ask yourself, do we really need a full project dashboard refresh every single week, every Friday, or every Monday? Can that 3 hour review meeting be replaced by, let's say, a 5 minute Loom video or something? Every little bit of simplification that you're going to introduce is going to give your team more time to actually do the thing that they were hired to do. And don't get me started on metadata here, right? Don't get me started on all those timesheets. If your team spends more time logging hours than writing code, you are definitely doing it wrong. Consider using done, not done milestones, right? Done milestones, not done milestones, rather than asking teams to, fill out timesheets. These are easy, these are binary, these are effective if you have what all are the milestones of the project, how many of them are done, and how many of them are not done. You don't need a pie chart to tell you that a task is finished. Now, reducing complexity does not mean reducing professionalism, by the way. It means getting lean so you can stay focused on what actually drives delivery forward. So, whenever we say use simpler milestone tracking over effort heavy metrics wherever possible, we are not talking about, losing out on the professionalism. That's not what we mean here, right? I hope that's clear. Now, strategy number 3 is restore real time individual engagement. And this is where, when I previously mentioned that we are also facing a connection shortage in addition to labor shortage. So, do you remember the days when you could, walk over to someone's desk and say, "Hey, do you have a minute?" That's how we used to actually solve half of our problems. Now we are actually lucky if people even turn on their cameras. So forget about meeting people in the office. It's all most of the times you are talking to people on Zoom or whatever, and as I mentioned, it's lucky if they decide to turn on the camera as well. Now, group calls, they are fine if you have teams that are not, teams that are not co-located, right? There are virtual teams, but they are not where real engagement happens, to be honest. People often multitask. Let me know in the comments how many times have you multitasked when a meeting was going on and it was a virtual meeting, right? And tell me, compare that with how many time you would have multitasked in the past, in the pre-COVID era, when meetings used to take place in a meeting room and everyone was physically present there, right? So this is something that you have to check. So that is why I would say, one-on-one check-ins is where the magic happens. This is how you have to sort of focus from your passive group calls to one-on-ones to have that connection in place. You have to make time for individual conversations. You will have to ask questions. You will have to listen without an agenda. You will discover blockers. You are going to discover concerns. You might even discover great ideas that would have never come up in a group setting. So that is why try to replace or reduce your group calls and try to introduce more of one-on-ones with your project team members. Now, these chats, the one on ones that you have, these are going to rebuild trust. And rebuilding team trust and morale through personal interaction is what we are trying to achieve, right? When you have these one on ones, these tell your team members that, hey, you matter, I see you, and I have time for you, right? It's not like we will just discuss things over a team meeting with 10 other people, right? And in a time when many people are feeling disconnected because of all this virtual teams and virtual meetings and whatnot, people are overwhelmed. Even small gestures can go a long way. Now here's the bonus: if geography allows, meet people in person. Always do that. Go for a coffee if you are in office with one of your colleagues. Go for a chai, go for a samosa party, whatever that works. But having physical presence with your team members matter a lot. So obviously we are in a world where you have virtual teams and virtual meetings and virtual whatnot, but it's great if you can actually meet people in person. Nothing beats that. All right, let's also talk about some of the final thoughts here. These are, as I mentioned, these are tough times. There are labor shortages, there are constraints, there's general unpredictability of the world, right? Look what's happening in the world. Look at what's happening across different countries and wars and whatnot, right? So end of the day, labor shortages, they are challenging, but they are not unsurmountable, right? We are not powerless. You don't need more headcount to make a difference. You don't have to hire a lot of people. What you need is more focus, more clarity, more humanity in your project management approach. The strategies that we covered today, the three strategies, right? That is what you can include in your project management toolkit. You have to tighten the triple constraint. You have to simplify operations. You have to rehumanize engagement, right? These are the three things that we talked about today. I can repeat that if you want. You have to tighten the triple constraints of project management. You have to simplify the operations, the ongoing operations on your projects. It could be reporting, it could be meetings, whatever. And you have to rehumanize engagement with your project team members. Those are the three strategies that we talk about, and they work. These are grounded in common sense, these are reinforced by experience, and these are adaptable to almost any kind of environment, right? So this is something that you should add in your toolkit. Thoughtful leadership is going to make all the difference. So you have got this, right? One thing I know for sure is that you have got this. You are a project management professional. You are PMP certified. You are a subscriber of the PMC Lounge YouTube channel. So I know that you have got this. You are awesome. You have already survived impossible deadlines in your career, and you may have had at least one major software rollout, right? So labor shortage, it's just another obstacle, but you will navigate through it like a pro. So that's all the content that we had in this video. I would like to remind you about our YouTube membership, the VIP pass. You can get access to premium project management courses. You can have collaboration opportunities with me, and you can meet me for a consultation if you get yourselves the VIP pass, right? So you just have to click on the join button at the PMC Lounge YouTube channel to get access to all these exclusive perks. Here's a testimonial from one of our community members who cleared their PMP exam. You can share yours at pmclounge.com/write. Definitely looking forward to your success stories. And that's all that we had in this video. Keep learning. My only call to action is to subscribe to this channel so that we continue to bring such useful content for you. And keep learning, check out the other videos on the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the